Hello and welcome back to Ace Attorney Investigations. In the last episode, we finished the first part of our investigation and found evidence that the victim was not alone inside the elevator. So let's just jump right in and see what's next.
What's going on over there?
Unforgivable. This is unforgivable.
Do you understand what I am saying? The movie is late. It is the same level of bad as if the plane arrived late.
Wow, dramatic much? But the movie...
What? I will not talk to you anymore. You are just wasting my time.
What is the matter, Mr. Lablanc? If there is no emergency, please return to your seat, sir.
Do not tell me what to do. I need not to sit down. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, did you prove you are innocent yet? If you would like, I will prove my innocence to you right now. What? Nonsense! Are you saying my eyewitness testimony is mistaken? Not mistaken, merely that there is room for doubt. I'd be most honored if you could please tell me what you saw in detail once more. Fine, suit yourself. Is he making like a finger gun at Edgeworth? What a weird guy. What I saw. I am certain I saw Mr. Hicks enter that elevator. It was when the needles on my pocket watch pointed to the 6 and the 12. The body was discovered 15 minutes after that in the lounge, yes? Then you, the only person in the lounge at that time, must be the criminal. Mr. Lablanc's conclusions seem to make logical sense. After all, the only person in the lounge at the supposed time of the murder was me. So, my eyewitness testimony. If you think you can destroy it, then come, let me see. Hurry! Do I look like a man who is having the time to wait for you? Well, you're on a plane. You have all the time in the world. Why is he so irritated? I'm the one being accused of murder here. Anyway, I must find a way to discredit Mr. Lablanc's account somehow, and fast. Again, there's no real hurry here. Right, pressing everything. Mr. Lablanc, were you able to get a good look at the inside of the elevator at that time? Of course, I saw what was inside. And you are sure that the victim was in the elevator alone? Yes, the only person inside was that Mr. Hicks man. This last outburst is a bit too important to let go. Oh, we got a new piece of evidence here. Was he really alone? Of course, I will bet even 1 cent. A cheap ante for a cheap testimony. But if that's how you want to play it, I'll happily take your 1 cent. I assume the pocket watch in this case is the one you keep checking, is that correct? Oh, you noticed. It is a very expensive antique, I will have you know. The feeling is wonderful when I fully wind it up by hand. It does look very well designed and quite classy. I will have to charge you if you want to touch it. That's quite alright. Let's continue with your testimony. What a cheap man you are. Now return the time you wasted back to me. And if we must, I saw Mr. Hicks enter the elevator at 6 o'clock. It's true that I found the victim's body at 6:15. And that's when I found the two of them as well. You see, it all matches my testimony. Okay, the final statement here. That is the most mistaken way of thinking I've ever heard of. No, your silly opinion is what is mistaken. Please calm down, the both of you. In a sense, you are both mistaken. What? Well, if that isn't the pot calling the kettle black, then I don't know what is. I spy a little hole in his words. As you wish, Mr. Lablanc. I will now show you proof of my innocence. Okay, here we are back to the beginning. Well, like I said before, it's almost always a new piece of testimony, so it should be this. The only person inside was that Mr. Hicks man. Oh, of course. We just proved at the, literally what I just said at the beginning of this video. We just proved that the victim was not alone. And the proof is the grape juice footprints.
Objection!
Mr. Lablanc, what is it? There is a very glaring contradiction in your testimony. What do you mean? Please take a look at the area in front of the elevator. There, at the spilled grape juice. Yes, and will you admit you also spilled it with the blood? No, it spilled itself during the turbulence. But the interesting thing here is the set of grape juice footprints. Footprints? Yes, the ones that lead from within the elevator out into the lounge itself. It's evidence that proves that someone other than Mr. Hicks exited the elevator alive. Oof! There must have been another person in the elevator with Mr. Hicks. Now then, I'm done playing games. Why don't you tell us the truth? Can you please translate for us? No way. That's totally impossible, I guess, is what he said. No way. That is totally impossible. He just translated the translation. I know there was no other person in there. I saw with my own eyes. If you want to know what I think, Mr. Edgeworth, I don't think Mr. Lablanc is lying to us. I suppose she's right. He doesn't seem to be lying. But then what does it mean? What about this contradiction? Mr. Lablanc, please, just once more, will you recall the details of what you witnessed for me? What I saw part 2. I was very upset when Mr. Hicks passed by my seat. I was always checking the time over and over again. I happened to follow that man with my eyes when he passed me. And I saw clearly into the elevator he was entering. But I swear there was no one else inside. No one. Well, it doesn't really tell us anything, does it? Mr. Lablanc, if you would please calm down. What? Dare you two have an issue with my eyewitness testimony? No, not at all. Please forget I said anything. Yet again, he doesn't appear to be lying. But I can't let this testimony stand as the truth.
Hold it!
So, are you still upset now? I am always upset. The only time I am not is when I have a piece of art in my hands. It's surprisingly easy to believe that about him. But I was even more upset when Mr. Hicks walked by me.
Hold it!
Why were you so attentive to the time? Because something unforgivable was happening. Come to think of it, you were yelling about something unforgivable earlier. I was giving a complaint to the attendant about the movie starting time. Return back to me my time, and money. You understand the point. Movie? Is he talking about the in-flight one that's mentioned in the magazine? A summary of the plot and the start time. Interesting. They were supposed to show License to Love, Laugh, Maim, and Murder. Maim, oh. I cannot see that movie in my country. You can only see it on international flights. I look forward greatly to that movie. I check my pocket watch whenever possible so I would not miss it. I even set my pocket watch to the destination time when I came aboard. So my watch is not wrong. It matched the schedule. But the movie was still late. Very, very late.
Hold it!
Your pocket watch. I'd like to ask you a little more about it if that's alright. The movie I wanted to see would not start, so I checked my pocket watch many times. And that's new.
Hold it!
So this movie you mentioned, is it the one listed in Sky Magazine? Yes. I was so looking forward to watching License to Love, Laugh, Maim, and Murder. Miss Teneiro, was this movie shown on this flight? Yes, it was shown at the scheduled time. Isn't it possible you simply slept through it by accident? Nonsense! You doubt me? No, now stop pointing at me like that. Odd. How did he miss a movie that he was clearly hoping to see? I checked my pocket watch a great number of times. That much I know for sure. Ah, here it is.
Hold it!
You're sure about what you just testified, Mr. Lablanc? Yes, of course. I am a very busy man. I am immediately busy when I land. I have many places to go, and no time to waste adjusting my pocket watch. I see. That was a very valuable statement you just made. Flatter me all you want, but you will not get 1 cent out of me. That's alright. All I require is this piece of testimony. And I think we're back to the old pieces.
Hold it!
Since you only happened to see him, it's possible that you missed something in that glance. Even if I only happened, I did not miss a thing. And how can you be so sure? Just because. He's like 5 years old. I would appreciate it if you didn't take my life so lightly with a simple just because. Well, then I was only making a joke. I saw Mr. Hicks, alright?
Hold it!
Is it possible that someone was hiding inside? What? You dare insult me? I have belief in my eyesight. When I look for art to sell, I am told often I have great sight for the arts. I think the phrase you were looking for was great sense, although that's debatable. But isn't it possible someone was just outside your line of sight? You are persistent. I tell you, I look clearly. And the final piece of testimony.
Hold it!
Why do you insist that you're absolutely not mistaken? Because when I say I am not wrong, I am not wrong. Mr. Lablanc, if I may, I think beyond misconceptions and mistakes lies the truth. Funny, that suspiciously mirrors something I told her only a little while ago. I honestly don't think Mr. Lablanc is lying. I don't think he's lying either. But I think he might be mistaken about something. Mistaken? Yes, and I'm going to correct his mistaken recollection with evidence. And this professional attendant shall witness the prowess of a professional prosecutor. Okay, the issue here is his watch. Because of this. My watch is set to my destination's time. I always set it when I'm board the plane. But that's not how it works. Right? You have... Wait, let's see what we have to present here. Is there anything about the cell phone that we can't even look at it? So let's have a closer look at this magazine. Oh, it's right there. All times shown correspond to our departure time zone, but he set his watch to the destination, so he's several hours off probably.
Objection!
Mr. Lablanc, you said this just now in your testimony. I even set my pocket watch to the destination time when I came on board. Now, if your watch has been set to our destination's time zone, it would mean that your watch is displaying the time of our destination. Yes, and the correct time is worth is 6 cents. 6 cents? I would like you to take a look at this. If you believe the Sky magazine, clocks on this flight run in accordance with the time of our departure time zone. Of course, the movie schedule was also created with that in mind. Ms. Teneiro, for confirmation's sake, what time zone is this flight aligned to right now? Well, we made a short stop at a transfer point. That's right. It was in that small Asian country, the Republic of Zhengfa. But we didn't readjust our onboard clocks at that time. So right now, we're still running on Borginian time. What? The time difference between Borginia and our destination is 9 hours. What? Further, with your analog watch set to our destination's time, it would appear to be running 3 hours fast when compared to the flight's onboard clocks. It also changes everything about your testimony. And you can bet 1 million cents on that. In light of this information, it means you saw Mr. Hicks 3 hours prior at 3 a.m. I didn't even have enough breath for that. My 1 million cents! This should clear up all of the remaining accusations. So this basically widens the time frame for the time of death, right? Yes, because Mr. Lablanc saw the victim enter the elevator at 3 a.m. It means that the time of death could be anywhere from 3 to 6:15 a.m. The question now is, where was Mr. Hicks during that span of time and what was he doing? I've got something to say. Her theme music is so strange. And you are? Yeah, oh. I'm Cammy Meele. I'm a flight attendant. And what is it you wish to say? Well, I think your story is a little different from how I remember it. What do you mean, Cammy? I saw Mr. Hicks sitting in his seat at 5 a.m., you know? What? How can you be so sure of the time? Oh, that's right. He pushed his call button while we were parked at the transfer point. Ah, the stop we made for refueling and the cargo transfer in Zhengfa, correct? A message from Mr. iFly. This flight will be making a brief stop to refuel and transfer cargo in the Republic of Zhengfa between 4 and 5 a.m. We ask that all passengers remain on board at that time. Thank you for your cooperation. Right. Yes, it was from 4 to 5 a.m. according to our clocks. And during that time, did any of the passengers leave or did any new ones board this flight? No. Not a single person got off or on in Zhengfa. What about the flight crew? The few who were handling the cargo transfer may have temporarily gotten on or off. But eventually everyone, including Cammy and myself, came back on the plane. So basically, I can assume that no one left or got on since our initial takeoff. Interesting. I should keep that in mind. Refueling in Zhengfa. Yeah, and I answered his call. I can tell you Mr. Akpi Hicks was there in his seat when we took off again at 5 a.m. Ms. Meele's testimony, okay? A couple of new pieces of information. Alright, then that puts the time of the murder between 5 and 6:15 a.m. Okay, now what time did you come down to the lounge, Mr. Edgeworth? I remember coming down here almost as soon as we left the Republic of Zhangfa. Ah! You were here the whole time from 5, yes? Then you are the only one who could be the killer. Mr. Edgeworth, were you really here in this lounge the entire time from 5 a.m. onwards? Unfortunately, yes. But then how do we explain the footprints? Is not that obvious? This man waited for Mr. Hicks here in the lounge, waited to kill him. And then he put the corpse into the elevator. That is when the turbulence happened. My eyewitness testimony may have been mistaken. But what time I saw Mr. Hicks enter the elevator on the second floor does not matter. Because the entire incident concluded here in this lounge. Everything happened in this lounge? I'm not sure what's going on with my controller. It's not responding very well. Is that what you really believe, Mr. Lablanc? What? Do you have another idea? I simply feel that there is something out of place in that scenario you presented. Is there something that can tie this crime to a location other than the lounge? Let's look at our new pieces of information just for the sake of looking at them. Mr. Acme Hicks was there in his seat when we took off again at 5 a.m. Made a brief stop from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. to transfer cargo and refuel at transfer points. And we just get a little close-up of that blurb. Right. So, one important item we haven't talked very much about, but is very relevant, is the murder weapon. Because it's usually on display in an in-flight shop, which is locked. We couldn't even get there. So I believe this is what we're going for.
Take that!
The murder weapon. This little piggy bank is sold at the in-flight shop. It is sold there and only there. It is not displayed here in this lounge. How then did it find its way here? Don't you find that a tiny bit suspicious? Well, I mean, I guess just playing a devil's advocate, Edgeworth could have bought it and then brought it with him to kill Hicks with, maybe. I mean, I know he didn't kill him, but that's not the best argument in the world, is it? Such a trivial point. It only means you prepared it, taking it from the shop first before coming here. Oh, I should have just let him talk. It doesn't prove you're innocent at all. Is there no way to win with this man? If I may. What is it? You see... Well, it's just as Mr. Edgeworth says. Oh, and why do you know this so well? Well, it's just that piggy bank was there in the shop. I saw it with my own eyes. And when was this? It was maybe around 5:40 a.m. Well, it's very specific. Isn't that just before we hit that patch of turbulence? That's right. You were in the shop just before the turbulence? Yes, I was. Come to think of it. Miss Teneiro, when I found the body, I believe you came out of that door. Yes, I did. And what is beyond that door? That's the flight attendant's room. Then you were on the first floor? Yes. I had to do something at the shop and in the flight attendant's room. So I went to the shop first, then to the flight attendant's room. Are you saying you passed by me at some point? Yes, you seemed really into the issue of Sky magazine you were reading at the time. He was knocked out, right? I don't suppose you noticed me walking by. Oh, I guess he wasn't knocked out yet. I vaguely recall someone walking by, but I didn't take notice of who it was. Anyway, the piggy bank was definitely there at the shop when I went there. Why did you go to the shop in the first place? I went there for a work-related matter. Work, you say? Yes, the upkeep of the shop is also one of my responsibilities. Why did you not say anything about that until now is what I want to know. In any case, I believe it's clear that the shop needs to be investigated as well. Shall we head over there then? What is it now? Aren't you forgetting something, Miss Rhoda? Don't you need the captain's permission to check the shop? No, I haven't forgotten. But I have already asked them for permission to search the entire plane. So I think we're all right. Didn't she say earlier that we didn't have permission to go to the shop? Maybe not. Maybe I'm not remembering that correctly. Huh? That's weird. What is? Well, I just talked to the captain, see? And he said that he didn't give you permission to do anything like that at all. What is the meaning of this, Miss Teneiro? It means she's lying. Go on, admit that you are. You said you had permission to search all over, but you don't. And yet, here you are. You, flight attendant, what are you trying to do? Pull the sheep over us? The captain's calling for you, Miss Rhoda. Oh, but don't worry. I already got permission to search the shop from the captain. See, unlike you, I do things the right way. There is some tension there between these two. Miss Teneiro, why would you do such a thing? Please excuse me. Looks like I get to be in charge now. Please go back to your seat, Mr. Lablanc. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth. If you would follow me, I will be your guide from now on. There's something about Miss Teneiro that has piqued my curiosity. But right now, investigating the in-flight shop is my top priority. Okay, that is our episode for today. Miss Teneiro is now acting very suspiciously, withholding information from us and then just walking away without explaining anything. So we have to keep that in mind when we do the next part of our investigation, which is in the in-flight shop, which we will save for next time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next episode. Bye!